Oh, wow. This place is insane. Do you own this? Do you live here alone?
Rule number 1, you will follow my rules while you're here. Rule number 2, don't bring up my personal life.
What's with all the secrecy? I was just curious.
Which brings up rule number 3. Don't question me.
You promised me my shot. I want my money back.
You're just a desperate wannabe from some no-name town. You want to make it in this industry, you do it through me. You hear?
Get your hands off of her now, asshole.
Perfect. I blew everything I had left on a dress for an audition I didn't even get to do. And now, thanks to Tommy, I'm broke. I don't even have a place to stay tonight.
Crying won't solve anything. And besides, I might be able to help if you're willing to make a deal.
What kind of deal?
Sign this. You can have a room in my mansion, plus a generous fee.
Wait. You want me to pretend to be your fiancé? I don't even know you.
Please, you're worthless to me. The only thing that matters is your acting skills. And the job is simple. Convince my father that we're engaged. And of course, to make sure that I'm satisfied as well.
Who do you think you are? I'm not a toy for you to play with.
And here I thought that you were some type of actor. I guess you're not that good after all. Maybe your Hollywood dreams are a bit too ambitious.
That's bullshit. I can handle any role.
Prove it. Sign the contract.
Stop dragging this out. Come back to Milburg. Marry Lucia immediately.
But father, you already know my answer. I'm not marrying her.
There's no room for discussion. The wedding happens this year.
This is your room now. Use whatever you need. But tonight, you are to stay in here. No leaving without my permission. Understood?
I'm not a prisoner. Why can't I leave the bedroom?
Remember, this is strictly business. My house, my rules, no questions. Now, be a good girl. And no matter what you hear tonight, stay put.
What a dictator. What, does he think he's royalty? Whatever. I'll suck it up for the money. Seriously. This bed is amazing. Is this a sexy masquerade party?
Keep your hands to yourself. I have my eyes on the prince tonight. He is going to be my master.
Yeah, the prince would even look at someone like you. You're not fit to be his plaything.
Oh my god. Is this some kind of kink-themed party?
You never know until you try. Look, here he comes.
Hold on.
Thank you for all coming.
Who is that clumsy girl? How dare she bump into the prince? Someone needs to throw her out.
Prince. He's the Prince of Valmir.
Tonight, you are to stay in here. No leaving without my permission.
Damn it! I can't let him recognize me.
You bumped into me. Apologize. Answer me. Or are you forgetting the party rules? How dare you defy me? You don't belong here, do you? Who are you?
I'm just a guest at your party, looking for a man who knows how to take charge. And then have a wild time. But I'm sorry, sir. You're not my type. A foreign prince? Seriously? This is not a fairy tale, and I am not about to play a princess. I'm too risky. Time to go. What the hell?
You want to leave? Fine. But you'll need to pay the penalty first.
You tricked me. You didn't tell me who you really were. The frickin' Prince of Valmir.
You don't get to negotiate. And I've never intended to hide my true identity. But how did you find out? Wait. That scent. The woman who I bumped into at the party last night. Was you.
No. It wasn't.
Why are you denying it? I am starting to lose my patience. You're gonna need to get punished for this.
Punish me? How? What do you mean?
I'd bend you over this bed, cheeks pressed against the sheets, and spank that pretty little ass of yours until it's warm beneath my palm.
I'm sorry. I messed up. But this is a bit too much, don't you think?
All right then. You're coming back with me to the palace to fulfill your contract then. That's a good girl. Now, go and pack your things and head to the airport. We are leaving for Punya.
Did he really just want to spank me? Does he think I'm his pet?
Where do you think you're going?
To Valmir? I'm just looking for my gate.
This is a royal airport. Commoners use the public terminals.
No, I'm the prince's fiancé. You know, the Prince of Valmir.
Yeah. And I'm the King of England. Look, if you want to seduce a prince, you need to lose the farmhand outfit.
I'm telling the truth. You can ask the prince yourself when he gets here. He'll be here in a minute.
Okay, sure. You need to go.
Touch my fiancé again and you'll lose that hand.
Fiancé? Your Majesty, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Run before I change my mind.
What's happening? He's like a completely different person.
Remember, you represent me now. No one's allowed to disrespect you, except me. Oh, and before we board, lose the rags.
Hey! These aren't bad. You just don't get fashion, do you?
Oh, God. The mayor's in for a nightmare. Get ready for some royal lessons.
Stomach in. Chest up. Chin high. Good. Hold it. Oh. Pathetic. Get up.
Laurie, this is too hard. I can't do it anymore.
I'm the most esteemed etiquette instructor in the palace. His Highness expects me to shape you into a proper heiress, and you will rise to meet those standards. If the king sees through your little act, believe me, it won't end well for anyone involved. Enough posture for today. Next, court etiquette. You need to memorize this.
The entire book. I hate memorizing things. This is torture. I gotta get out of this.
Miss, where do you think you are going?
don't feel too good. I really need to use the restroom. That's allowed. Great.
Freedom.
What are you doing?
How was I supposed to know you were in the shower?
Sweetheart, you have to help me. The guys at the casino won't let me go. They want 100 grand.
Dad, are you gambling again? How am I supposed to find that money?
Figure something out. If I don't pay up, they're going to chop off my hands.
Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I know. I've made things hard for you. My medical bills, your father's constant gambling at the casinos. You have no one to rely on now but yourself.
Mom? 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 I haven't even paid off my mom's medical bills. And now my dad's in trouble again.
You are the crown princess. You don't need to lose your composure over something so trivial.
Trivial. You act like $100,000 is nothing.
Don't worry. I will cover everything.
Miss, His Highness made these for you personally. He hoped they might cheer you up.
He made these. For me. Alex likes to bake. Didn't know he had it in him.
His Highness has also cleared your father's debts, miss. There's a car waiting for you downstairs to take you to the palace when you've finished eating.
You must be Amelia, Alex's fiancée. I'm his sister, Anita. Finally someone to keep me company around this palace here.
Your Highness, you are so naive. This woman really just schemed her way into the prince's life. Just another gold digger after the royal fortune.
That's not true, Lucia. Alex told me her family was really wealthy and powerful in America.
class isn't something you can fake. She's obviously just some farmer's daughter trying to play princess.
I'm sorry. Did I offend you somehow? Or do you just enjoy insulting people you've never even met?
This palace is for people of noble blood, not some lowly commoner like you. The king has already arranged my engagement to Alex. I'm his true fiancée. So, do yourself a favor and get lost. Alex, there you are. I missed you so much.
Know your place, Lucia. My father's promises are not my own.
Just you wait, bitch.
Your Highness, I don't think you have to do this yourself.
Has a man or a woman ever touched you like that before?
No. Never.
No one else gets to see your body. You should know I'm trying to protect you.
God, he's a total control freak. But why does this feel kinda hot?
Stand still. Stay the sauce. Brandon, make sure Amelia's new gown is ready for Mother's tea party.
Oh. I'm expected to attend that.
Mother's tea party is specifically for you. You'll need to make a good impression. And throw away that garbage.
Lucia, you look stunning today. The Queen will surely be impressed.
I wonder what that country bumpkin will be wearing. I'm sure she'll embarrass herself.
If she had any shame, she wouldn't even show up. Honestly, how could she think she belongs here?
That's Amelia. She's gorgeous.
No wonder the prince is in love with her.
Oh my God. What a clumsy idiot.
My dress!
You better change before the Queen sees you like this. Even the air stinks now.
Where is Alex's fiancé? Where is Alex's fiancé?
Where is she?
Imagine being late for such an important occasion. So rude.
Your Majesty, I am Amelia Jones. It's an honor to meet you.
This dress is certainly different, but it suits you. I see a bit of my younger self in you.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
I need to greet my other guests, but I hope you enjoy the party.
Your Excellency, thank you for your help with my dress situation. Your clever fix saved me.
You are too kind, Princess. It was nothing. And please, call me Charles.
Charles? I thought you were a count.
One of my many identities.
May I?
Please.
Is this me? It's beautiful.
Well, it's yours, if you like it.
Thank you.
You're coming with me.
What was that for?
I told you to impress my mother, not flirt with other men.
Flirt. We were just talking. He helped me with a wardrobe malfunction.
We have a contract. You want the money? Do your job. Obey my rules.
Wow. Why are you so mad right now? Are you jealous?
Careful batting your eyelashes at me. I don't think you can handle what happens next.
You gonna threaten to spank me again? Oh, I'm so scared. You bastard.
Remember, Amelia, here, you belong to me. Only me. Tonight, you'll be going to the king's dinner with me.
The king. Oh my God. My heart is pounding. What if I mess up? Your dad clearly prefers Lucia.
I decide who I marry. In this performance, there are no second takes. Besides, deceiving the king is a role of a lifetime. And if you want to sell it, then you have to believe it.
Valmir. Mia, welcome to Valmir. Alex tells us that your father's company is quite influential in the US. And your mother's family, you have connections to European nobility.
Your Majesty, you flatter me. My father oversees several import-export ventures worth about 12 billion, but it's hardly impressive compared to your kingdom.
Modest. I like that. Though, to be frank, I had arranged for Alex to marry Lucia. But he tells me you two are already engaged. How long have you known each other?
Almost
2 years.
It's strange. He'd never mentioned you before. It seems our son's reputation for being unpredictable continues.
Darling, take my hand. Amelia tends to find royal life a bit overwhelming. That's why we didn't want to announce it so soon. After all, she is quite the humble girl, Father.
Oh, I need all the details. How did it happen? Did he sweep you off your feet? I can't even imagine my brother getting down on one knee. The proposal? Well, he
didn't actually propose, did he? Interesting. By the way, Alex has a very specific taste. Do you even know his favorite city?
Paris.
Monica.
Wow. Would you look at that? You don't even know his favorite place. Something about you two feels off. Royal marriage isn't some game.
Sweetheart, please forgive me. I am so sorry that I promised you that we'd move to Paris after we were engaged. It is the city of our dreams.
Oh, the city of romance. Darling, I'm so glad that our son has finally found the love of his life.
Lucia, I see no choice but to end your engagement to Alex.
But
You see, I've always thought of you more of as a sister.
we grew up together. I know you better than anyone. That has to
That's
be
enough.
Alex, you and Lucia have always had strong personalities. You both have that in common. But perhaps you need a partner who is softer.
Exactly. These two have been at each other's throats since childhood. If they did end up married, they'd probably bring down the whole palace.
That is one problem solved. Now, let's see how well Laurie taught you.
Amelia, I hope you will enjoy the Valmere court ball. Oh. Bloody hell.
You did it again. Watch your feet. Follow the beat.
Sorry, but don't talk to me. I'll forget everything.
You've got to get this right. We're about to trade partners. If you mess up in front of my father, it's over.
Oh my God, stop stressing me out.
Oh, okay, that's it. You are killing me. Quick, step on my feet.
What?
You heard me. Step on my toes with your feet, both of them. Now, do it. There we go. All right, remember, stay focused. One more set of steps, and it's his turn. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Mission accomplished. You were perfect.
Damn. He is hot. I did it.
Oh, all the torture paid off.
Well done, Amelia. That was beautiful. But you know what would make this evening even better? If you played a song for the king and queen. The timing couldn't be more perfect.
I don't think that's a good idea. It's getting late.
Don't all respectable, wealthy heirs know how to play the piano? You wouldn't want to disappoint the king and queen, would you?
Very well. Amelia, let's hear a song.
A Christmas carol. Really? For the king and queen? How quaint. Is this really the best our future princess can do? Bang on the keys like a child.
Actually,
Sorry. It's just sitting at this piano. It makes me think of Christmas at the orphanage. I'd sit and play this song as they passed out gifts to the kids. Those were such special times. I can't help but wonder how they're doing now.
it is Amelia's kindness is what moves me the most.
It was beautiful.
Oh, please. That whole soap story, it's so obviously made up.
Lucia, enough! You are being utterly disrespectful. You're such a kind soul. Thank you for that heartfelt performance. I do hope you and Alex marry soon. You're so beautiful. Your children are going to be absolutely adorable.
Oh, isn't it a little too soon to be talking about that?
Not at all. I can't wait for the day. Why don't you move into Alex's suite tonight?
What am I going to do? We agreed this was all an act. How am I going to fake being pregnant? What are you doing?
Since you look decent, maybe I'll take one for the team and make things a little more real.
Hey, we said no sleeping together. This is strictly business.
Dream on. You are sleeping on the floor tonight.
Excuse me? I'm not a stray dog. Besides, aren't princes supposed to be gentlemen?
As crown prince, my word is law. Go to sleep. I'm gonna go take a shower. When I get back, I don't want to be disturbed.
If anyone's sleeping on the floor, it's you. I'm taking the bed. Stupid, arrogant jerk.
Bet you get to sleep with me, huh? Guess I'll have to indulge you just this once.
You're not my type.
Okay.
No, come on, stop. Go with me. What the hell?
You happy now?
Just go! Get out of here!
Well, you seem to really enjoy art.
Charles, I didn't expect to see you here. Are these yours?
Some of them.
These portraits are gorgeous. Too bad Alex ruined the one you gave me.
You don't seem to like the palace much. I don't either, I must admit. I find there to be far too many rules.
You noticed that, huh? Yeah. This place is pretty rigid.
Yeah. Feeling homesick at all?
Charles, you crossed the line. I warned you. Stay away from my fiancé.
This isn't what it looks like, Alex.
I don't give a shit.
Why did you hit him? You've got it all wrong. We were just talking. That's all.
Then why are you so nervous?
I'm not. You're being ridiculous. Just because you're a prince doesn't mean you get to go around assaulting people.
It looks like fate has led you right here.
A secret playroom. What's something like this doing in the palace?
This is a private space for my partner and me. It is where pleasure knows no limits. I take control. And you follow. And you know I love taking control.
So, the future king is a little kinky. Gets off on being dominant. Explains the masks at his party and why he hid this room.
But I'm not your partner, Alex. Our relationship is strictly contractual.
You didn't seem so shy at the party. And weren't you hoping to find a man who can dominate you?
I was just bluffing. But I can't deny, it kind of sounds exciting.
Your body doesn't lie. And no one in the kingdom can satisfy you the way I can. Your behavior today, unacceptable. I'll give you a taste of what happens to naughty girls. Strip. Good. Now, let's make this interesting.
Damn it. I can't take it. The thought of being taken right here is driving me insane. The pain, the pleasure, I kind of fucking love it.
On the table. Now.
Open your eyes, what can you see around? Wind of the open sky, over the siren sound. This is a dream, getting the royal scar, holding a diamond blade, throwing it far. Wanna bathe myself in you. Wanna break my soul in two. 'Cause I would die to give what I take. Illusions are still on my skin. I wanna be holy like you. I wanna be holy.
Damn it, Alex!
I wanna be loved.
Did you enjoy our little game? I want you to remember exactly how you felt. Did any part of you want to run? Or are you simply wanting more?
Why do I feel so dependent on him?
Does this fall under the terms of our contract?
Of course not. And if you didn't like it, then we can always stop. But I trust that you'll follow your instincts. Now, go and get ready. Mother has planned an engagement trip for us. What the hell are you two doing here?
Well, Your Highness, the Queen wanted more than just a connection. She wanted the world to see Amelia as you do, and trust that through my lens, they will see just how striking you really are.
Thank you.
Oh, darling. We haven't traveled together in ages. I've really been looking forward to this. You know how stuffy the palace can be.
It seems like Father still doesn't trust me.
Let's get another bottle.
Celebrate. Sweetie.
You're so clumsy. I can't even eat without making a scene. Seems our future princess needs some more etiquette lessons.
Seems our future princess is tired from the long journey here. Show a little respect, Lucia.
Are you lecturing me? Who do you think you are?
Charles. You seem rather concerned for my fiancé.
Well, I just,
Alex, what are you doing?
Making sure everyone knows you're mine.
do you even really care for Amelia, Alex? Or is this just some form of control?
Hi, Charles. Or is it you that simply can't resist Amelia's charm? Stay in your lane. You're here to take your silly little photos, not offer opinions.
Well, at least I know what it means to truly care for someone.
What? Are you jealous?
Alex, that's enough. And let me go. I don't want you two fighting over me. Why did you have to humiliate him? Charles was only trying to help.
Charles needed to be put in his place. I mean, I don't understand. Why are you defending him? You belong to me. When are you going to get that through your head?
I'm not your property. I'm bound by a contract, that's all.
Then stick to it. I don't want to catch you getting close to him again. Understood?
He's always so controlling. But why can't I stop thinking about him? No. 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 Alex?
What the hell is wrong with you?
You don't actually love her, do you? It's all fake, right? I know you, Alex. You're just running away from the palace and all of those damn rules.
Stop lying to yourself, Lucia. I will never love you. Stay the hell away from me.
That bitch. She is not taking what I've spent years fighting for.
He's a prince. A total playboy. I can't fall for someone like that. Get a grip.
What the hell are you doing here?
You and Lucia. I get it. It makes sense. I think we should keep our distance from now on.
Amelia, it's not what you think. Okay? I already told her. I feel nothing for her.
This is just a deal, Alex. Don't worry. As soon as it's done, I'll leave. You're a rich, handsome prince, and I'm broke, jobless, and stuck cleaning up after my dad's messes. We don't belong in the same world.
Don't you say that. And don't ever bring up that damn contract ever again. Yes, I'm controllers, jealous as hell. But when I look at you, Amelia, I just want to protect you. Okay? The thought of someone else touching you, I see red.
Wait. Are you saying that you actually like me? Or is this some cruel joke?
God, don't make me say it again, okay? Yes, I like you. I fucking like you, okay? Why else would I save you from that set if I didn't fucking care? I mean, I'm the fucking prince of...
I can't be what you want me to be. I'm sorry.
Prince of Punya.
I fucking like you too. I fucking like you too.
I was in charm. We've got somewhere to be.
Where?
You'll see. Thought I'd show you something fun. Hosting royal hunts comes with the job.
Impressive, darling. Let me try. That was close. I think I'm a natural.
Would you like to try?
Me? He's probably never even held a gun in that backwater town of hers. Try not to cry if you get scared.
Come here. I'll teach you.
So sway with me, so soft will be, holding this moment in time. Your mama and me, one mind.
Lucky shot. If you're so good, do it again.
Oh, try not to cry, even if you get scared.
Where did you learn to shoot like that?
There's a lot of things you don't know. I once auditioned for a Western, spent a month training with a rifle just like that.
This will be your last day, Amelia. Hold on. Since we have all of this crowd here today, why not make it a little bit more interesting? Little competition? See who begs the most game.
Not a bad idea. Amelia, you with me? You? Or with Charles?
That's not fair. You already are best shot. And Amelia is not entirely useless.
And I'd be rather happy to be with the princess.
Not happening.
Maybe we should just go solo. That seems like the fairest way.
Are you sure? I don't want you to push yourself.
You've seen me shoot. Trust me.
Okay. Meet at the crossroads in 1 hour. Good luck. Amelia.
We heard a scream. What happened?
It's Amelia. Come on. Her gun barrel's badly damaged. She must be injured.
She may have fallen. Best we call for help.
No signal. Damn it. It's better we head back to the villa.
No. We must find her before it gets dark.
It's too dangerous. Just come back with us.
Get help. And that's an order. Amelia! Amelia, where are you? Hey. Amelia. Amelia, please. 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 Wake up. Amelia. Come on. Please. Baby. I'm right here. I got you. Oh, God. Oh, let's get you out of here. I got you. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Oh, thank God. You're awake.
How long was I out?
A whole night. Do you remember what happened? Do you know who you are?
I think I was in LA. Filming my actress.
And anything after that? Do you remember who I am?
Did you save me?
Oh, God. You didn't lose your memory, did you?
How could I forget my prince?
You nearly scared me half to death. You know what? From now on, your body is no longer yours. I can't stand to see you get out again.
I see it sometimes behind those kind eyes.
Amelia, thank goodness you're back. Lucia said you fell off a cliff. Everyone thought you were dead.
I was so worried about you. I'm all right. Really. See?
Well, you sure are lucky.
It's all thanks to Alex. I was unconscious for nearly a whole day, and he took care of me the entire time.
Don't move. Stay in bed and rest.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Lucia, thanks to you, the entire palace thinks Amelia is dead.
It's okay. I'll talk to everyone. The rumors will die down on their own.
No, you're not leaving this room until you're fully recovered. We must keep this a secret.
Why a secret?
I want you to dance at the upcoming flower festival. Aside from proving you're alive, it'll boost your popularity with the court and with the people of Valmir. 2 birds, 1 dance.
Wait, but we agreed that I was supposed to do the dance.
Traditionally, only the princess performs, so this no longer concerns you. Leave us and go reflect on your actions. Rest up, my dear. The people will adore you.
Freedom. It's been ages since I've had the chance to shop. Valmir's streets are even more beautiful than I remember. I need to find something truly special for the flower festival.
This store is for VIPs only. You might want to try another place. I'm fairly sure you cannot afford anything here.
I'm a paying customer. Why can't I see it?
I don't have time to waste on country girls playing dress up. This necklace is way out of your league, so why don't you run along?
I want it.
Here. Pretending to be rich, huh? Your card is maxed out. Did you think that you could scam us into giving you this necklace, pathetic lowlife? Security!
Damn it. Dad probably emptied my account again to gamble. What do I do now?
Sir, how may I assist you?
By leaving. Now.
I don't understand, sir.
I just bought the store as a gift for the woman you refused to serve. You're fired.
I'm so sorry. I was so short-sighted. I shouldn't have offended you, miss. Please don't fire me. I didn't know who you were.
The store is yours, sweetheart.
Leave. Your snobby attitude will only end up damaging the store's reputation.
Well, well, well. Look who's changed. You used to let everyone push you around. Now look at you.
It's all in our hands, this life of time.
My princess. Whatever you want, it's yours. Now, are you ready for the flower festival?
Yes, Your Highness. Ruler of all things rich and ridiculous.
Amelia, I've had time to think, and I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have tried to hurt you. It came from jealousy. I didn't want to lose Alex. But that's not an excuse, and I'm truly sorry. You have shown great strength. You deserve this. You are the true princess of Valmir. If you're unsure about me, I understand. So let me prove to you I'm being sincere. There's something few people know about. Valmir's rarest treasure. The Crimson Highland flower. Only the highest ranking nobles are allowed to wear it. If you bring one to the festival, the queen will be completely won over.
Crimson Highland flower. Where does something like that grow?
Actually, there is a patch of them on the mountain peak right behind the palace. They're delicate. Once picked, they wither quickly. So we should go. Pick some right before the festival starts.
The way these flowers smell is really what makes them so special. It's the fragrance you can only find in Valmir. Go ahead, smell one.
Something's not right. This is toxic.
Where the hell is she? On the day of all days. Brandon?
Yes, Your Highness.
Find Amelia. Bring her back before the performance starts.
Sir.
What's wrong, dear?
Amelia's missing. Have you seen her?
No, I was busy getting ready for the festival. But if she's not here, who is going to dance for the king and queen? I could do it. We can't let the whole event fall apart, can we?
Today marks Valmir's beloved Flower Festival, and this year the royal performance will be given by Prince Alex's fiancée, our future princess.
Stop the music. The performance is cancelled. The performance is cancelled.
Alex, what's the meaning of this?
My apologies, folks. The princess-to-be is not feeling well and won't be performing today. Now, if you excuse me, I need to go check on her.
What are you doing? I told you I could step in.
Not a chance. That dance belongs to her and no one else.
If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911. If this is an emergency, hang up and dial 911.
We searched everywhere, Your Majesty. But maybe she just slipped away, like last time.
No. She was looking forward to this. She wouldn't just vanish. Something must be wrong. If you have to tear Vermeer down brick by brick, then do it. All right, I want every single person on staff to be looking for her, including kitchen staff. Understood?
Including the kitchen staff.
Sir! Amelia!
Oh.
What the hell happened to her?
We found her just beyond the mountain near the palace, sir.
Oh my goodness, she's not breathing.
Where the hell are the bloody doctors?
Your Highness, the lady seems to be in a state of toxic shock, most likely caused by poison, and her vital signs are dangerously low.
Then give her the antidote! Wake her up!
Well, that's the thing, Your Highness. We don't actually know which poison it is yet. We'll have to run some tests, and it would appear that the poison has been in her system for some time, which
means what? That you're not going to wake up?
I'm doing everything I can, Your Highness.
Get this fool out of here and send for every top doctor in this kingdom! Virologist, biologist, toxicologist. I don't care how much it costs. I will not lose her.
Brother, she's awake. It was a crimson highland flower, just like before.
Oh, thank God. It's been 3 days. How do you feel, sweetheart?
You scared us all, Amelia. My brother called every doctor from across the kingdom. He hadn't slept a wink.
That's enough, Anita.
My dear prince, you saved me again.
Baby, what happened? The doctors found enough crimson poison to kill or drive someone mad.
Lucia, she took me to the mountain. Said we'd pick the flower, but it was toxic.
Who took you there?
Lucia.
Enough. Enough. Lucia might be jealous, spoiled perhaps, but she wouldn't actually hurt you. I saw her just before the dance.
Wouldn't actually hurt me. Why would I make that up? Why don't you believe me?
Because Lucia's been on her knees in the chapel praying for you to wake up.
Lord, I pray, keep Amelia safe. Let her wake up. I would give my life to make sure she's okay.
You've been in here praying for Amelia, but I thought you two didn't get along.
I don't hate her. I just care too much about you. So, if she's hurt, you're hurt, and I just wanted to get better.
Lucia, I am so sorry. I...
It's okay. I'm here.
You got it wrong, okay? Lucia's been praying for you. I've known it forever. She's not the enemy.
No, Alex, she's acting. It's all lies. Why don't you believe me?
Just stop! All right, enough! The toxin's making you paranoid. If you actually cared about me, then drop the accusations. I've got a meeting. Keep an eye on her. She's not quite herself yet.
It's all right, Amelia. Once you feel better, you and my brother can talk things through properly again.
Whether Alex believes me or not, I'll expose Lucia for who she really is.
You just don't die, do you? You pathetic little leech. You already had the poison in your system. I should have just pushed you off that cliff when I had the chance. Why are you doing this? You lie to Alex's face like you're some angel, just to stab me in the back. Every day you're in this palace, I will make your life a living hell, I promise. Everything you took from me will be mine again. And no matter what you say, Alex won't believe you. You're sick, Lucia. And I swear I'll expose you if it's the last thing I do. Dream on. Alex is already disappointed in you, and no one is going to believe the ramblings of a mad woman. And no prince in the world would ever want a princess who has lost her mind by his side. So if I were you, I would leave before they toss you out like a garbage that you are.
I would leave before they toss you out like a garbage that you are.
You really failed her this time, brother. You walked out on her. She was devastated.
Fuck! Lucia won't get away with this. I mean, where is Amelia? Is she okay?
I brought her back to her room. She's broken. You should go apologize.
Apologize? I am the crown prince. What? Where are you going?
Back to the States.
No. I won't let you go. You are supposed to be my princess.
I'm not marrying someone who doesn't believe me, even if he's a prince.
Don't stop! I was wrong, okay? I misjudged everything. Lucy is already being punished for all of her lies.
Let me go. You didn't believe me when it mattered. You only saw what you wanted to. I was never a person to you, just a part of your fairy tale.
No. Just tell me what to do. All right? I'm here. I'm apologizing. Doesn't that count for something?
That's not how apologies work, Alex. But of course, you wouldn't know that. You're just an arrogant prince who always gets his way.
Fuck.
You broke my heart, Alex.
Amelia!
From the Highness Order, from today onwards, you are forbidden entering the palace.
You did this all! I'll kill you!
Lay a finger on Amelia again, and I'll banish you from Vermeer forever. Is that clear?
I hate you. Both of you! Amelia, you will pay for this, I swear it!
Amelia, are you okay? What is wrong with me? Why does this hurt so much?
This is from my brother. I've never seen him at a loss for words like this.
Maybe you are right. Growing up with everything, people's respect, their fear of crossing me, all that privilege, it gave me a false sense of power. Everything changed when I met you, Amelia. I was used to controlling my world, but I couldn't control my feelings for you. Seeing your pain destroyed what was left of my pride. I was wrong, and I betrayed your trust. If you need to leave, I'll respect your decision. I've torn up our contract. You are free. The money I promised is already in your account.
Oh my God.
I never stopped loving you, Amelia. If you can't find it in your heart to stay, I swear, I'll make you fall in love with me again.
Oh no. What has he done now? I know my brother can be clueless sometimes, but he would never hurt anyone. I don't think I've ever seen him apologize to anyone.
Clearly. He's awful at it. But this time, I might just believe him.
So you forgive me, right?
Jesus. Were you seriously eavesdropping, Your Highness?
I was terrified you'd actually leave me.
Wow. That little faith in yourself, huh?
Cut him some slack, Amelia. He would not stop begging me to give you that letter.
Not another word, Anita.
So, You lied when you said you'd respect my decision if I left, then?
Amelia, I meant every word, but the thought of losing you, I panicked, okay? Amelia, I love you. Every word in that letter is true. Do you trust me?
Apologies, Your Highness. The council meeting is about to begin.
Meet me at Moonspring Lake tonight. There's something I need to say.
Oh my god. You scared me. When did you get here?
You look like a dream.
It was the dance I was supposed to perform at the flower festival.
My love. I owe you a promise. And with the moon as my witness, let me be your light for the rest of your life. Will you marry me?
Alex. Yes. Yes, I will.
I love you. I want you right here, right now.
Need you, baby. It's a faithless road I'm on. I need you, baby. 'Cause it's been darkness all along. I need you, baby. It's a faithless road I'm on.
Tonight, you'll surrender your mind, body, everything.
Need you, baby.
Oh my god. Alex. Don't stop.
Good morning, princess.
That title. It makes me a little uneasy. Do you think the king and queen will accept the truth? That I'm not some rich heiress?
What matters most is they care about who you are, not what you have.
Maybe. But don't you think they'll be angry we lied?
Don't worry, my love. I'll handle it.
I know your secrets. You will regret it soon enough.
What's wrong?
I don't know. But I have a feeling that something terrible is about to go wrong.
Explain this.
Father, it's not what you...
Not you. I'm speaking to Amelia.
Your Majesty, I'm sorry for deceiving you. I'm not a rich heiress. I'm an actress from Hollywood. Alex and I had an arrangement. I was only pretending to be his fiancée.
Deceiving the crown is not just disgraceful. It's a crime, one that carries a life sentence here.
Father, I couldn't go through with your forced marriage, so I brought Amelia here to play the part. It was all my idea. I'm the one that should take punishment.
Oh, Alex, what have you done? The entire kingdom thinks you're going to marry her. You've brought shame on the royal family.
But Mother, not unless I go through with it. I love Amelia.
You're still lying to me! You are the Crown Prince of Valmir. You'll not marry an actress. I should have reined you in a long time ago. I'll not punish Amelia, but she leaves Valmir today. You will marry Lucia next month. That is not a request.
Lucia? Lucia? Lucia tried to murder Amelia multiple times. That's why I banished her from the palace. I will not marry a murderer.
You dare defy me? Keep testing my patience, and I will strip you of your royal title without hesitation.
I'll go. Just don't punish Alex. Please.
Amelia.
It's okay, Alex. Your duty is to your people. They need you. I should go.
Please. Don't leave me.
Let her go, son. It's over.
Time goes by, won't keep heading round in circles, never letting go, never letting go.
I'm not letting you go without a fight.
It's not up to us, Alex. Your father made that quite clear. I won't be the reason you lose the crown.
No. No! No.
You'll find love again. It just won't be with me.
Don't you dare say that. I don't care about anyone else. I want you. Only you.
I'll miss you. I hope you live an extraordinary life. Nobody deserves it more.
Miss, everything is taken care of.
Thank you, Brandon. And please let Alex know I'll be returning the money he gave me.
I can't accept payment for playing a role when what we had was so real.
Are you sure? I don't think the prince would mind if you kept it. He'll be worried about you.
Thank you, Brandon. But I've made up my mind.
Understood. Well, I'll make sure he knows, and safe travels, Miss Jones.
I don't think I'll ever love again. Alex was it for me. No matter what happens, I'll always love him. Goodbye, Valmir. Goodbye, my love.
Move it! I didn't hire you for you to take your own sweet time. If you want your pay, earn it! Useless.
Ugh, I should have kept some of that money. What was I trying to be? A saint? Wait. Tommy still owes me. Time to chase down that walking red flag.
Well, look who it is. Shouldn't you be out sipping champagne wearing a crown right now?
Not here. How did you know about that?
Explain this.
It was you. You sold me out.
What can I say? They paid well. Gotta be pretty stupid not to take up a deal like that.
Then give me back the money you scammed from me, you bastard.
You're worthless to me now, bitch. Now get out of here.
Get your hands off of her now. Get your hands off of her now.
My arm, Mr. Alex Winston. Why the hell do you keep saving this bitch?
Watch your mouth. That's my fiancée. Are you okay? Come, I got you. I've been losing my mind without you.
It's only for you, only for you.
Wait. What's going on? What are you doing here?
I fought father. I am not marrying anyone else but you.
You didn't give up the throne.
I passed all of father's tests. He and mother finally understand. I am here to bring you home officially, my fiancé.
Are you serious? I thought I'd never see you again.
You are such a fool. Seeing you like this, it kills me. Here, let's get you to the hospital.
I've been taking care of myself. I'll be fine, don't worry.
Amelia, I promise I will never let you get hurt ever again.
You lazy bitch, where the hell have you been?
You the boss?
Yeah, so?
I'm buying this dog.
I've never seen so much money in all my life.
From now on, you work for Miss Jones.
Miss Jones, anything you need?
Not good enough.
Miss Jones, I'll be your loyal dog.
Alex, stop torturing him.
don't want to see him anymore.
You had to go. Get out.
You shouldn't have bought this place. I don't know the first thing about running a restaurant.
Do whatever you want with it. Looks like we have time for a little fun. Have you ever played any wild games in the kitchen before?
Sounds spicy.
Oh.
Alex, I want you.
Arch your back. Don't squirm.
I like it. It makes me so wet. Please. Harder.
That's a good girl. Don't move. I'll be right back.
You say you're not gonna take part in this mind play. Well, it's just the kind of price that you gotta pay.
God, Alex. Just take me. I'm yours. Do whatever you want. Oh.
I never thought sex on a kitchen island could be so hot.
Want to know who paid Tommy to sell you out? Come back with me to Vermeer, and you'll find out.
Well,
Look, I know going back there isn't easy, but this time, I promise, I'll make things right.
Tommy. What's he doing here?
Come. The show is about to start.
Your Majesty, this woman approached me in Hollywood. She bribed me to expose Amelia's secret. I later discovered that she was out to ruin her.
I just told the truth about who she really is. What's wrong with that?
Here's proof that Lucia tried to kill Amelia. She admitted it herself.
Your Majesty, this rifle was used in Amelia's accident. It's been, tampered with. The tools were found in Lucia's room.
So this is who you really are. Cruel. Vile. And I nearly let you marry Alex. What do you have to say for yourself now?
Alex, please, help me.
You tried to kill Amelia. You lied to me over and over. I won't take pity on you again.
No, you can't treat me like this. My father was a duke. I had every right to crush this little peasant if she got in my way.
Peasant? Let's make one thing clear. Amelia is my princess. And your crimes? Unforgivable. Father! Pass judgment.
Lucia, you have disgraced your late father's name. I hereby strip you of your title, revoke your inheritance, and reduce you to a commoner. All your property seized. You are permanently expelled from the palace, effective immediately.
No, Alec, no, I'm the princess! I'm the princess!
You're still here? Or do you have a death wish? It's all over, my love.
Oh, Geoffrey, we almost tore apart such a beautiful couple. You know, as I recall, there was once another actress who famously became a princess.
Grace Kelly, the Princess of Monaco.
Come, let's give them some peace.
I guess this means I can start openly pursuing my acting career again. No more secrets.
I guess so. The world deserves to get to see your talents. But tonight, you are all mine. And I'm gonna make sure that tonight is unforgettable.
Does that mean an evening with my Prince Charming in our secret playroom?
Yes, but fuck. I want you right now, my Princess of Valmir.
And we know that